It's getting away from the surface level stuff. And not that you're impressed that he's a doctor, but you're impressed with what it took for him to become it. You see, that's something he achieved. And as a man, for you to connect to what he's achieved, that's a big one. We've all been there, not knowing exactly, should I ask that question? What do I wear so that I feel comfortable? This is a good one. I have a tip that is going to help you know exactly what you need to wear on each occasion. It may not be exactly what you're thinking, so stay tuned till the end because tonight we are going to dive into what you do and how you ask the questions that make connection. Because you might be feeling like I'm not connecting to him in the way that I want to, and these little tips are going to get you there and help you so much in this. So welcome to this about sparking a man's interest for love and commitment, what you ask, how you ask it, what you do, and even what you wear. So welcome. I am Coach Paula Grooms, a dating and relationship coach for women, licensed social worker, and author of the book, Why Won't He Commit? How a Man Decides to Make You the One. I help you find a Mr. Right, get an ex back, or grow an existing situation to the relationship of your dreams and level up to the complete commitment you totally deserve. Hi there. I'm so glad you're here. This is very simple. And once you hear it, you're going to go, oh, that makes so much sense. But we don't tend to think of it when we are dating. We get into our heads a bit. We make more of things than is necessary. And we don't stay focused on that goal of connection. We focus more on ourselves. And when we switch this focus, we help create the connection that is going to get us really what we want so that we are completely comfortable and help ourselves so much to get what it is ultimately that we desire, deserve. So first of all, what do we ask? You can ask almost anything you want, but I'm going to give you a little tweak and a little twist on the how and even how to get into a question whereby you might feel hesitant or uncomfortable, maybe asking about it. Then we're going to get into what you do to feel more comfortable when you're with him. And this is something that you can focus on that is outside of yourself to take the pressure off yourself in a way, take the focus off your thoughts about yourself. And then, of course, what you wear that's going to make you feel most at ease, and to know, most importantly, that it's going to connect with him. He's going to like it. So, all right, let's get into questions and how you ask. The operative word here is deep. You want to ask deeper questions. Now, this is tricky because we have to be very careful, especially first off when we're first dating. When I say deep questions, it's about the how of the question, not so much the what. So, for example, you are meeting someone, say, on a first meeting from online, and he's telling you what he does for a living. Let's say he's a doctor. So you want to connect to him and not give the questions that are going to be surface level, but have deeper meaning. And here's ding, ding, ding key, that he is the only one that has the information. He's an expert on it. So instead of a yes or no question like, do you like it? Not so deep. If he starts talking about his life and you can tell he's interested, you can comment on that and say, I see you're really passionate about it. What got you into it? What was it that inspired you, hear those keywords, to go to medical school? You can also give him a little boost. Like, I can't imagine how hard it is to get through medical school. What kept you going during the tough times? You see how they're deeper? They're not just surface level questions that he's going to be used to answering. It shows deeper thought about the question, and that you're not just interested in him because he's a doctor. You see how that makes more connection? You can help yourself get to deeper questions by, and I'm going to make a caveat on this because we don't want them necessarily to be, especially in the beginning, about other relationships or women. So it's more about his passion, his thoughts, his feelings, what inspired, there's a great word, what inspired you to do that? How did you keep going through the tough times? What got you through? That kind of thing. Now, he may have so much bravado that he says, it wasn't hard for me at all. Well, ding, 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 that might be a little bit of a red flag. Because it shows a little bit too much bravado. But you see the start of it so that you, in those moments, can help yourself ask the question. Things like, here's some tips. I imagine that must have been. I can only imagine that must have been. And then add in the word. Really challenging, maybe even a little difficult. What prompted you? What got you to all of that? What was it that inspired? Again, inspired? What gave you the inner strength to get through XYZ? And then, of course, you can connect it to something to yourself that maybe you wouldn't have. Like if you would have all of that capacity, you don't have to hide it. You can say, like, I know what it takes to do that kind of testing. What made you know that you were suited to do this? What inspired you? You see, that kind of thing. Deeper questions, not just surface level, that don't make a connection. And we know they're surface level questions when they tend to be a yes or no. So instead of, do you like it? Do you like whatever specialty he's in or whatever? Do you like it? Not great. That's a yes or no. I mean, he could expound on it and say, well, yeah, I like this part of it. I like that part of it. Instead, even if you can't think of a deeper question, you could say, what do you like most? And then he might answer. It's getting away from the surface level stuff, and not that you're impressed that he's a doctor, but you're impressed with what it took for him to become it. You see, that's something he achieved. And as a man, for you to connect to what he's achieved, that's a big one. You see, going deeper, not yes or no. And you can start it off with wow. That is always like a word of wonder. Wow, or interesting. Interesting. What inspired you to go into medicine? You maybe are going to get, I watched my grandfather suffer with X, Y, and Z. There wasn't good stuff, at the time. I vowed then when I was a little boy, I'm going to do something about this disease. I mean, wow, you just made a real connection there. And then, wow, it must be really meaningful to you. But I can imagine how challenging it must have been. What got you through the tough times? You see, just be thinking deeper about it. Now, it may not be something like that. Say it's not medicine. You can apply this to anything. Say, I don't know, he's an electrician. Wow, what sparked your interest in that? You see, make it fun too, but a little deeper. I would find that so challenging, and it's fascinating that we don't even know what electricity is, and here you are working with it. What got you into that? He might say his family or whatever it is, right? He may not know, but it's at least challenging him to go a little deeper. People like to be asked about themselves and what they do, especially men. What they do is so intrinsic to who he is. And I really admire that. I can imagine you've been shocked one or more times in your life. And then he'll tell you about those incidents. There's not an electrician alive that hasn't really gotten himself shocked. Yeah, stuff like that. Okay, so now we want to get to what you do. This is quite simple. You probably heard it, but again, like I talk about here all the time, we don't need more information. We need reminding. So I'm going to remind you because the more we're reminded, the more we can think. This can work with anybody to connect you and to make them feel there's something about this person I like. I can't put my finger on it, but it's something. It's subtle and you want to be subtle about it, but you do it. And it's simply mirroring. You've heard the term. He's sitting there looking at you. He's got his chin on his hand. Well, then you slowly move into chin on your hand. He sits back. Maybe he puts his hands up, Maybe you do that, but you do a version of it and you play with your hair. You see? Subtle, but he moves, you move. He crosses his legs and situates his body to you a little bit more or to an angle, do the same. Now, not immediately, but like work into it. You can do this in an interview. You can do this anytime. People want to feel aligned. It makes us feel connected. The people who most appeal to us are what we recognize and what is like ourselves. So in that moment, be like him. It's very simple, but we need to be reminded. What's going to remind you when you're going on your next date or a first meeting? What is it that's going to remind you? Put something on your phone. I don't know. Carry a mirror with you. When you look in your purse, there it is or something. But something, right? Mirroring is very effective in terms of making someone who we just meet feel at ease with us. Then, like with mirroring, this is very simple. What we wear. This is an interesting one because yes, we want to feel very comfortable. But if we want the man to connect to us, very simple. Here's what you do. Think of what will he be wearing? What will he be wearing? And then we tend to mirror that in the female form. So, he works in finance and you're going to be meeting him for happy hour after work. Say he's, I don't know, you're here in the East Coast, he works on Wall Street. He's likely going to be in, ding, 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 a suit. Well, then you want maybe the female form of that, not necessarily a suit, but if you do have a woman's suit on to go to work, don't show up in something that's not that. Again, it's mirroring for connection. Once you're dating, you can even ask. He may ask, what should I wear? Men tend to ask that for certain things when we're in relationships with them. Again, ask, what would you be most comfortable in for Friday casual? See what he says. I mean, you can work through that if he does ask. But if you're going on a first meeting and he says, I'm going to be coming from the gym. Oh, then say, oh, so that sounds pretty casual. Okay, I'll be the same. So don't show up in your finest when he might be still like just throwing on stuff after the gym stuff, right? Because that will make you both uncomfortable. And it feels like there's a disconnection when maybe there really isn't, but it doesn't help us to create that feeling of connection. Just think of it. What's he going to likely show up in? And I'll show up in the female version of that. Say he's a drummer in the local band. He's probably not going to be showing up in a suit, right? So think of that. I trust those things were very helpful to you because you need reminding to make those connections. I'm here for women. I'm a dating and relationship coach for women. So I help women get what they desire and deserve. Women desire most to feel connected. I'm just saying that, and every woman here has had the experience of going on a first date. It feels like the man is talking at you to impress you. And these deeper questions that I just talked about can get him over that hump so that you can feel connected. Because again, this works both ways. If the man were to ask you deep questions, you'd probably love it, correct? If he said, "Oh, what got you into interior design? Have you always been creative with colors and shapes and things?" That's much better than like you say, "I'm an interior designer." Oh, that's interesting. So you help people decorate their houses. It's not as deep and it doesn't make you feel connected. Women want to feel connected to get past the friendship. You know, I was talking about if he's an electrician, what sparked your interest in that? You see, it's deeper. Think of connections like, okay, electricity, sparks and getting shocked. And so he says something and you go, "That's shocking." You see, something like that. Just pivot to flirting, giggling, make a connection to something. You can think of anything that might have a connection to something he does and pivot and make it more fun and flirty. But it's a good question because we want levels in dates. We don't want all deep. We want make connection, pull out of it a little bit. Make connection, pull out of it a little bit. Levels, roller coaster, seesaw, fun, and deep. Does that make sense? But I really like that question because it does get to the heart of it. But you see here the importance of connection, and we're not taking away the importance of needing to flirt, but the connection of how I position myself with my body, meaning mirroring, have some deeper things. It doesn't have to be continual. We don't want to make it all about that, right? And then also wearing something whereby he will feel we are simpatico, we are aligned, right? And even if you know he's a drummer in the band and he's going to be maybe with beads on his arm and a tie-dye shirt and jeans and sneakers, well, you can still show up in jeans, right? Maybe you can show up jeans with heels, but you don't want a button-down shirt. Maybe you want a boho shirt, aligning a bit, right? Maybe stick something in your hair or some beads or bangles or something, but aligning with the feeling he's going with so you feel simpatico. Just look pretty. You know that old joke? What does a man have to do on a first date to impress a woman? The answer? Everything right. What does a woman have to do on a first date to impress a man? Answer? Show up. You don't have to do that much. I'm saying these things so that you feel more comfortable and that just being there and allowing something to evolve is not going to be enough. And we have to do or say the right thing to impress or to not disappoint or to show that we're interesting. You see, but again, when we put our focus on someone else in a sense, and I don't mean taking his temperature in the moment of like, are you comfortable? Do you have what you want to drink? No, not that. Just like, how was your day? That's enough. Get him talking. How was your day? Not sitting down and expounding on your own. What's the week been like for you? Those aren't yes or no questions, right? He's got to come up with an answer. Seeing if he asks you anything. Now, you want to be careful about this because on first meetings, again, men come in with an agenda. They tend to want to, if they like you, they find you attractive, impress you with something. And that can be a real turnoff because it's not connecting. We have to be very careful of great dating skills. We're not looking for great dating skills. Those are things that can be cultivated. But the characteristics of a man, the traits of a man, his kindness, his intelligence, his honesty, his patience, his depth, we can't give him those. They're not skills. That's who he is. And we are looking for those for relationships. I hope that is helpful. And anyone having trouble staying focused with online dating because you get frustrated, it's a time suck. You feel like I do one thing with one guy who maybe I like, that doesn't work. That you're all over the place. You get too many hits. You don't know which men to accept. You don't take the steps that guide the man to the place you want him to be in case you like him on that first meeting. And make no mistake, ladies, if online dating, you are the one in the initial stages before you meet that you guide it. You guide it to a first phone call. You guide it to where you're going to meet on that first meeting. And then after you meet and you do these little things that I'm talking about, then he takes it from there if he likes you. It's very simple. It's a formula. It's in my One Love, Online to Never Ending Love, 7 simple steps to digital dating success. You follow those steps and you get success formulaically, so you don't have to spend time and turmoil thinking of, what do I do with this? I have the text you send to guide him to just that first meeting. Make those first meetings easy, light, fun, right environment, right time of day, right days. No first meeting, ladies, on Saturday nights. Don't do a first meeting on a Saturday night. It's psychological. Don't do it on Saturday night. Don't do it on Sunday night. They do not feel right. They don't connect to the man in the right way to get you what you want, should you want it. But if you show a man, I'm free on a Saturday night for a first meeting, and what can happen? You don't want dinner on a first meeting. You don't want a walk. You don't want a hike. You don't want coffee. That's what you do with a friend. If you're going on first meetings for coffee, coffee is what you do with a colleague or friend. It's not a sexy environment. It's not fun. And I don't mean sexy in that you're going to have sex, but there has to be date-like environments. But you don't want the full meal deal. No meal. You show, I need to meet you first. We need some connection and lightheartedness and fun to see if we want to go to a next step. If you met a guy organically, he's met you in person, and he asked for a first time to get together as dinner, yes, that's different. I'm talking about from online. You don't go from an app even to the phone call, which you must do because he must see you are in a value category. You expect a man to make that call and introduce himself before you deign to meet him. So then you meet for drinks, you meet for happy hour. It's the right environment, happy hour. That's what I'm saying, connect. If he's coming from the office, he says, I'll be coming from the office. Oh, and say you can meet on a Friday night. I tell you how to do that so you kind of get out of making it all too long and how to get out of it in a couple of hours because you don't want your first meeting to drag on too long. So you can say, oh, is your office a casual office or are you the kind that's in that 3-piece suit? Because then you can mirror it better. He goes, oh no, it's a very uptight office. We got to wear our suit and tie all day and that he'll be coming like that. Okay. Female version of that. Even if you're wearing jeans, nice blouse, stick a cool blazer over it and put some heels on. Feel comfortable and in alignment. Again, that's what connection's about. Can be really, really helpful. They're really small, but it's the small things because it's dot by dot by dot by dot that connects the line. So if you need help with this, get the One Love, Online to Never Ending Love, 7 simple steps to digital dating success. It's a self-help course. You get to keep it. You then have a full coaching experience with me. You ask me your questions and we get to actually talk. So very important for you. You get I think now you get a 1 month with the 80/20 Wonder Club. And speaking of the 80/20 Wonder Club, if you have any friends we're looking for this month, we are looking for guests. You know it. guest full coaching conversations with me, write to Michelle at coachpaulagroomers.com and she'll get you set up. Wonderful to have you here. I'm going to love you and leave you so your man doesn't. Please like this video. If you do, please share it out far and wide. I'm looking to grow my audience here so that we have more women that we can help and get every woman the love she desires and deserves. Wonderful community. Great to have you. Thank you so much for that help. I seriously appreciate it. I will talk to you next time.